As I'm recording this, here in New Jersey, we're in the middle of winter, which makes it uncomfortably dry indoors. And as a result, many people like to use humidifiers to improve their health and comfort. And you can find numerous videos all about the different types of humidifiers, but there's one type of humidifier I haven't seen them mention, maybe because I don't think it's been made in the past 30 years. But I have an example of it here. The box calls it a cool spray humidifier, but it's not ultrasonic, nor does it use a wick. Instead, this is what is known as an impeller type humidifier. And to make this at least somewhat relevant to what I normally make videos about, this humidifier originally came with a promotion to save $15 on Fujifilm's family of products, including film, quick snap, video and audio cassettes, and computer products. Expires March 31st, 1996. And as for the humidifier, its advertised features include 1.5 gallon capacity, which provides up to 24 hours of operation. Snap-on motor assembly reduces vibration for quieter operation, which I think hints at a shortcoming of this design. Removable impeller for easy care, convenient built-in carrying handles, lightweight and durable. Luckily in the box I got the original instruction book. On the cover they show 3 different sizes. It looks like I have the middle size, which is 1.5 gallons, so I guess the 2 other sizes would be 1 gallon and 2 gallons. They say this humidifier contains our unique locking system. Unit may make vibrating noise if not locked down properly. And while it warns to not allow the humidifier to stand with water unused, as this could cause the growth of fungi, it says it will not harm the unit to continue running without water if the water is used up during normal operation. And the operating instructions mention another drawback of impeller humidifiers, where they say place the humidifier in a shallow pan or tray on the floor to protect the floor or carpet against spillage or occasional expulsion of water, spitting. And finally, it came with a 2-year warranty, and the manual was copyright 1992 by Sunbeam Auster Household Products. And here it is, the Sunbeam Cool Spray Humidifier. Unfortunately, I think the plastic must have warped with age because that unique locking system doesn't quite lock anymore. And the unique thing is, when you look down into the spout, you can see straight down to the bottom of the water tank. And when you take off the top, all you see is this tube which sticks down into the water and spins when you turn it. And it has this series of teeth around the edge. It's almost like the teeth of a comb. In case you're wondering how that could possibly work, I found an excellent article in the January 1992 issue of Popular Mechanics. It explains how all the different types of humidifiers work, including drum humidifiers, wick humidifiers, ultrasonic humidifiers, steam vaporizers, warm mist humidifiers, which I think is another type you can't really buy anymore, and finally, impeller humidifiers. As the text explains, this design creates a cool mist by mechanical means. Inside the unit, there's a motor-driven disc or impeller attached to a tube that extends into the reservoir. When the impeller spins rapidly, water is drawn up from the reservoir and dispersed on the impeller. Then centrifugal action pulls the water out across the impeller to a fan-like edge where the water is atomized and dispersed through the moist air outlet port. So basically this thing is just a fan that sucks up water through that tube and flings it at those comb teeth to atomize the water into tiny droplets. Hence the reason why they call it cool spray rather than cool mist, and the manual warns you to point it away from people, walls, or furniture. Anything or anyone directly in front of it will get wet. One more funny thing in the manual is that it says to make sure the power cord is unhanked, which means it's not bunched up. And since there's no harm in running this thing dry, that's what I'll start out by doing. That's obviously pretty noisy, but most of that is just vibration of the motor against the tank. If I lift it up, it gets quieter, but still pretty noisy. And it was even worse before I oiled the motor. If I take it out entirely, it gets a lot quieter. And there's no interlock, so there's nothing stopping you from running it completely out of the tank. It's not a good idea to do that. And it's obviously not the best balancing job on that tube there, which contributes to the vibration. For cleaning, they tell you to unscrew this tube and then run a brush through it to scrape out all the mineral deposits, which I've done. For the best results, you should go further and remove this impeller disc. After taking out the cotter pin using a pair of needle nose pliers, we should be able to pull out this disc. There we go. And that's what the bottom of that looks like. And you can see some of the mineral deposits. I've really tried my best to clean it out. Some of this is just sort of embedded in the plastic and it's not really coming out. And if you want to go even further, there's 3 screws to remove to gain access to the motor itself, which I did do previously, and that's how I was able to oil the motor. So the motor itself is really smooth. So that's not the source of all the noise and vibration. It's everything else that it's attached to. And they recommend cleaning it weekly by filling the container with 1 gallon of water and a 1/4 cup of bleach and running it for 30 minutes in a bathtub to avoid damage to surrounding areas from bleach water, then rinse it until the bleach smell is gone. I wonder in what universe would someone actually do that weekly? It's not a good idea to fill your humidifier with Arizona iced tea, but don't worry, I'm just reusing the container. It's a gallon of water I'll be filling it with. I filled it with a gallon of water, so now I can put the lid in place and actually start using this thing. So here we go. I put some cardboard down underneath it. It's actually a little quieter once it's full of water. I don't know if it'll show up well on camera, but there is a fine mist of water coming out of it, which I can see and feel. It's making my hand feel cool because of the evaporative effect. Now I bumped up the camera's exposure to make it much more visible. So that's more like what it looks in person. It's actually reaching all the way up to the ceiling. You can really see it reflect in the light. It definitely is working. When I started it, this hygrometer was reading 17% humidity. Now it's up to 20. And in case you're wondering about the power consumption, it's about 25 watts. Now after half an hour of operation, you can see just how wet that cardboard has gotten, and the front of the unit itself is also very damp. Yeah, that's probably why they don't make these anymore. When Consumer Reports tested humidifiers in 1994, the impeller models were all at the bottom of the list in the ratings, including a Sunbeam model similar to the one I have. They said it splatters mist or water. And in general, they said that impeller models sling droplets of water into the air. They are inexpensive to buy, but may require soft or distilled water or a demineralization cartridge, so a year's running cost can exceed the purchase price. Impellers can splatter water and spew microorganisms along with the water. So I think that's why impeller-type humidifiers fell out of favor and you don't really see them anymore. Although they're very simple and were inexpensive to purchase, they have significant drawbacks in their operation.